Hi, my name is Kelly and I'm coming to you on behalf of Collective Recovery. In this video series, we're talking about thinking errors and some common thinking errors, as well as some things that you can do to challenge your thinking errors or shift those thinking errors. So here's the thing is our thinking errors are really just thoughts of patterns of thought that are not rooted in reality, and truthfully they're usually not getting us what we want. They're old thought patterns that drive us to a specific behavior that is not necessarily in alignment with long-term recovery. So if we're not aware of our internal thought processes, it can be very difficult to manage our unconscious behavior, which leads us to want to pick up drugs or alcohol. So paying attention to our thoughts is a very challenging task, but it can definitely help us long term not only identify thinking patterns, but then move into some more helpful thoughts that will help you make better decisions in recovery. So this week, again, we've been talking about thinking errors. We talked about black and white thinking. We talked about awfulizing a situation. We talked about playing the victim. And today I want to talk about another thinking error, which is jumping to conclusions. Now, jumping to conclusions is all about really just jumping to some sort of idea about something or somebody or a situation without actually investigating the facts about the person or this particular situation. So one of these is mind reading, and mind reading is where you actually are just drawing an arbitrary conclusion towards someone that you think is reacting negatively to you without actually looking at the facts about the situation. So the thing is with mind reading, you are really causing conflict in your own personal relationships because you're not able to see where you might not be right? You make poor decisions and poor assumptions about others without actually investigating if they're true, and that harms relationships. The second part to this with jumping to conclusions is what's called telling the future or fortune telling. So this is where you might anticipate situations in your life are going to turn out way worse than they really are, right? Maybe you convince yourself that something is happening in your life and it's the worst case scenario. And so you create this story in your mind about how bad this situation is going to turn out. And essentially what happens is when you predict that type of negative outcome, your subconscious starts to go to work on making it happen, right? And so eventually, it's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. Things in your life will come true based on your thoughts, right? And so if your predictions of the future are not really helping you or rooted in reality, you can really trip yourself up and really get yourself into a situation that maybe you really didn't want, but by worrying about it or predicting a negative outcome, you're really just setting yourself up for, potentially experiencing that, right? So here's some ways that you can challenge the negative thought. The first one is just to actually be aware of it, right? We all have negative thinking errors. We all have thought patterns of behavior that are just not good for us to think. So, you might want to ask yourself some questions. The first question I might ask is, how do I use this in my day-to-day life? Where do I actually, mind read what someone else is thinking about me? Or where do I jump to conclusions by telling the future, right? Where do I actually see this show up in my own personal life, my own personal experience? Now, another question to ask is maybe, where did you learn this thinking error? A lot of times when we learn things from our parents, our past situations, we can also unlearn it. So it's really important to kind of find out where you learned this. Now, then also look at what are the disadvantages of thinking this way? Is it really getting you what you want? And a lot of times it's not, right? So what can you do to think a different thought, a healthier thought for you? So here's the thing is thinking errors don't change overnight. They're changed by constant awareness to our thoughts. And if you find this challenging, we would highly recommend to see a licensed therapist. A licensed therapist can not only help you identify your thinking errors, but also help you put in a plan of action to be able to change your thought patterns, your thinking errors. And we do have licensed therapists on staff at Collective Recovery. You can actually visit our website at www.collectiverecoverycenter.com, or you can give us a call give us a call at 1-866-UTAH-HOPE, or you can message us here. Happy to talk to you about our outpatient treatment program, our sober living, or just getting you on the schedule for a therapy appointment. Now, if you liked this video, if you felt it was helpful, please go ahead and hit the like button, and that will also help other people see this video. Thank you so much for being here this week in this video series. And if you didn't get a chance to watch the other videos, go back and watch them. The first day we talked about black and white thinking. Second day, awfulizing. We talked also about playing the victim and blaming others, as well as, actually today's video, which was all about jumping to conclusions. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.